There's something I regularly see in my coaching work, and I'm wondering if it's something you're experiencing as well. Clients often come to me because they want to elevate their confidence. And I frequently hear how low confidence is the thing holding them back. But when we slow down and unpack what's underneath this, we often find that lack of confidence isn't actually the issue. The true culprit, which is eroding their confidence, is actually a trust issue. They lack trust in themselves, especially when they're under pressure. And because they don't trust themselves, their confidence naturally declines. And here's the thing, the leaders and high achievers that I work with, they are not lacking ability. But often what is missing is consistency. And without consistency, self-trust diminishes. And as it does, it brings confidence down with it. But here's the thing to remember. Confidence is not a personality trait, and it's not something you're necessarily born with. No, it's actually something you build over time through experience. But here's the mistake people make. They assume that confidence should precede action, that it should come first, and that once they feel more confident, then they'll speak up or take the risk or drive the project or whatever the thing is. But research studies have clearly established it actually works the other way around. Confidence follows evidence. And if you've been waiting to feel ready before you take action, you might be unintentionally reinforcing the very doubt that you're trying to eliminate. Now, that's not a character flaw. It's just an unexamined loop. But these types of unexamined loops are exactly why this channel focuses on self-leadership. Because the internal patterns you run under pressure, they quietly determine your external results. But when you can see the patterns, you can lead yourself through them differently. So let's take a look at some of those patterns and unpack what actually builds your internal trust. There are 4 main psychological triggers that build your confidence that we're going to walk through today. And as we go through all 4, I want you to listen for the one that feels most relevant to you right now. Starting with number 1, proven performance. This comes from Albert Bandura's work on what he called mastery experiences. Simply put, your brain builds confidence when it sees proof in your own outcomes and results. But the challenge is that most of us are way too good at remembering that one time something went really wrong, while completely overlooking the dozens of times that they went right. And this skews our internal data. As a result, we start doubting ourselves, and this doubt diminishes our confidence. So we need to right-size this equation by capturing our wins. This gives us evidence to review later. Now, where do those wins come from? Well, this is why micro goals really matter, especially from a neurological perspective. Because when you set small, specific, action-oriented goals and then complete them, you're essentially giving your brain a victory receipt. And those receipts then accumulate. They build up over time. And as they do, your confidence stabilizes. But is this kind of proof enough to bolster your confidence? Maybe, but there are other elements we can layer in as well. So let's talk about trigger number 2, modeled success. Another one of Bandura's findings was that we build belief when we see someone similar to us succeed. Now, not someone superhuman whose experience we could never relate to, but someone like us. As an example, let's say you struggle with having tough conversations. When you see a colleague handle a charged conflict really well, something subtle happens internally. Your brain updates what feels possible. It helps you see that if they can do it, you can do it. But here's the action-oriented part. Instead of comparing yourself to them, it's really important to study them. How are they thinking about the situation? And how is their thinking different from yours? What are they specifically doing? What actions are they taking that you can learn from? And what were their motivations in how they approached the situation? You see, confidence leaves patterns, and patterns can be learned. We just have to notice them. Now, here's where self-leadership really comes into play, because external models can only take you so far. And unfortunately, if your internal dialogue is working against you, it's going to continue to be an uphill battle. But that's where our next trigger can make a huge difference. Trigger number 3, cognitive reframing. Now, I want to be really clear. This is not about pretending you're perfect or embracing toxic positivity. It's actually about becoming a better internal coach to yourself. Because here's the thing. Most of us have an inner critic that is far too efficient, but not at all helpful. It's that voice of creeping doubt that says, you're not ready for this. You're going to mess it up. And I know that voice can sound really convincing in the moment. In fact, as the research has repeatedly shown, it's actually there because it's trying to protect you. But being there to protect you and being accurate are two very different things. So when that little voice pops up, I actually want you to interact with it. Hear what it's saying, and then reframe the message. A grounded cognitive reframe might sound something like, I've prepared for this. I'll just take it one small step at a time until I reach my goal. You see, you're not falsely inflating yourself, nor are you buying into the limiting beliefs of your inner critic. Instead, you are leading yourself forward. And this is a subtle but powerful shift that changes how you show up. By the way, if this is resonating and you're gaining insight into why your confidence isn't where you want it to be, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. That way I can support you week after week with research-backed content to help you cultivate your inner leader for outer impact. Okay, now the last trigger, and this one often surprises people. Number 4, emotional reframing. Now, for context, the physiological sensations of anxiety and excitement are almost identical. Both can include a racing heart, increased energy, rapid breathing, heightened focus, but the difference is in how we interpret them. When we feel those sensations and we see them as danger signs, we contract. But if instead we recognize them as signs of a meaningful challenge, we actually expand. Same sensations, just a different frame. One helps us lead ourselves through with curiosity, while the other actually shuts us down. And research on anxious reappraisal shows us that simply shifting your internal language from "I'm nervous" to "I'm energized" can measurably improve your performance. Now, it's not that the nerves magically disappear. They're simply reinterpreted in a way that diminishes their negative pull. And when you learn to manage them, instead of being managed by them, your confidence starts to grow. Now, at the top of this video, I told you to listen for the trigger that feels most relevant to you right now. So which one was it? Because I want you to experiment with the one that feels like it could make the biggest difference for you. If number one, proven performance, felt like it would serve you best, then spend the next week intentionally setting small goals and capturing your wins in a note on your phone. Build that library of proof so you can remind yourself what you're capable of. Or if number two, modeled success, resonated, then find someone who excels in an area that you want to improve in. Then have a conversation with them, or better yet, see if you can be a fly on the wall and watch them in action. Remember, if they can do it, you can do it too. Or let's say number three, cognitive reframing is where you felt a tug. Then spend the next week listening to your inner dialogue, and each time it tries to protect you with an unhelpful message, write a quick supportive reframe to counter it. And finally, if number four, emotional reframing, was the one for you, then spend a few days looking for opportunities to transform anxiety into excitement. That way you can expand instead of contract. Now, in all four cases, you're recalibrating your internal narrative with actual evidence. And this is how you build self-trust. And this is also how your confidence grows. By the way, if you want more coach-led support like this, the kind that helps you level up your leadership and your life, then you might really enjoy my weekly newsletter. I'll put the link in the description box below so that you can check it out. Now, there is one thing I really want to reiterate. Confidence is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you actually build through how you think, how you act, and how you interpret your own experience. Because who you are is how you lead. And when you intentionally shape your internal patterns, your external leadership grows with it. So the real question isn't about whether or not you are confident. It's about what evidence are you collecting so that you can see it for yourself. Start there and you'll watch your confidence grow.